So this is the part of the podcast where I drift a little bit, and I call it the rapid fire questions. So I've prepared 10 questions for you. So there's no right or wrong answers in this segment. So it's just based on your experiences so far, and should be fun. Ready to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the first question is, what's the first career you dreamt of having as a kid?
I wanted to be an insurance agent like my dad. Look, I know it's not very exciting, but yeah, insurance agent like my father.
So the second is, if you had to eat only one meal for the rest of your life, what will it be?
That's so simple, man. Look at me. It would be pasta. I would eat pasta every day because pasta can come in a million forms, and I can cook myself 100 types of pasta. So that definitely be pasta.
Pasta. Okay. So when you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
I like the outdoors. I love going in nature, walks. I'm a big Karura fan. When I'm in Nanyuki, I love living in Nanyuki, by the way. I'm in Nairobi usually a week per month. My base is Nanyuki. So one day I can go to Samburu National Reserve, another day to Olpejeta, another day I go to, Aberdeers. There's so many things that you can do. I like being out. And I'm an avid movie fan, so I do watch movies, not binge most of the time, but I do like that. But yeah, mostly I like to be out if I can.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with being in nature. So the first question, what are you afraid of most?
Being without meaning or do not signify something. Like, this is something, do you remember in school most teachers told you, what do you want to become, right? Before I said insurance agent. But what I knew was what I didn't want to become better. And what I didn't want to become was transparent. Like, go through life without making any change, walk into a room and not being noticed, not in terms of looks or just energy. Like, my biggest fear was just drift through life, and it still is. And of course, it would be, lose what I love the most, my son, my family. Probably that loss of affect is, now that I can say that I did not become a transparent person, I can say my biggest fear is to lose my family.
So the fifth question, I think we know an answer to this, but I'll try it out. Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant?
No, I thought LeBron James, man. So Kobe is one of my role models. I'm a basketball player, and I looked up to Kobe also because he spoke Italian nearly like he spoke English, like native level, because he grew up in Italy, because his father was there playing. So Kobe was in Italy between 6 and 14. He speaks Italian, he spoke Italian so well. So when he died was devastating. And Kobe represents more than basketball. Kobe represents a mentality. They're leaving everything on the court. That became also my MO. So it's horrible to put Michael Jordan but Michael Jordan was and is the greatest of all time. Kobe is a very close, player to him. But
if he had more time, I think could have done a little bit more.
I mean, did you know that he invested already into unicorn companies? He was going to become an incredible human being apart from basketball that he already was. He was not a good husband once. He made possible to go back into this family, and he was a great father. That's the other thing, great father. So Kobe it was an incredible human being, but as a basketball player, no one is at the level of Michael Jordan.
So the sixth question, what's your favorite book?
Too many. I have so many. I love history. So one of my top three, I can give you a top three. Okay. I'm not sure if I can put one on top, but the Hadrian's Memoirs is a book by Marguerite Yourcenar talking about the memoirs of Emperor Hadrian, who was one of the most successful Roman emperor. And that was an incredible book for me. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho was another incredible book, and the only book that I finished and started again immediately, because it represented such a powerful message, right? Another book that I loved is but it's again connected to Rome. I love historical book. I don't read fiction. So in general, I can give you a genre. I love history. I read history. Right now, I'm reading *Sapiens*, was it Noah or Joab? I forgot. Which talks about anthropology, and I'm also doing the history of Africa by Benedict Meredith, because I'm a history buff.
Yeah, that's a good collection of books right there. So the first seventh question: if you could invite 3 people, dead or alive, to a party, who would they be?
Kobe, number one. I would just want to be, one day close to him and talk to him. One is Kobe Bryant. The other one, Trevor Noah, looks like a funny person to be around, and I would love to be around him as well. And to be honest, don't like this. I could get so many historical figures, but you said party specifically, so it needs to be someone that is funny as well. Yeah. Silvio Berlusconi, our prime minister, former prime minister, and now he was not the best politician in the world. Let's face it, but his love of life and the billions that he had made him an incredible host for parties. So if you don't talk about his political agenda, but just his life, his parties were particularly good. They came up to the news, unfortunately, some of them. But as a wild card, Silvio Berlusconi would have been a great party person, not so much for a politician, but here it is.
So the 8th question: what was something you've done that made you extremely happy?
Risk the agar business and just putting everything I had and not giving up when that person stole money. I needed to go home. I took a month off. I went home and I needed that family recharge and sort of energy. And I talked to my parents. I was like, I don't want to give up. I think arid lands are still my future, and I'm happy that I didn't give up right and there. I'm happy that I had a supporting family and a supporting friend, because my best friend, he lost money with me in the first enterprise, and he gave me more. That's a sort of trust. So I'm happy to have that family and that friend, and I'm happy that I didn't give up on myself and on them, but just persevere.
The 9th question: what quote resonates with you most?
Finally, someone that I have the straightaway answer. I actually live by a motto. I do. This motto is from a Roman poet and literature called Ovidio. He says, "Omni solum forti patria est," which is Latin. Omni solum forti patria est. Translated, it says, every soil or territory, solum is soil, right? But it means place, right? Every possible place is the country of the strong. It means that a strong person can live anywhere. And I live in another country. I lived in 5 different countries. That is not mine. So I know what it means, and I know the difficulties of living somewhere else. But if you're strong enough, you can live anywhere. That's my motto.
Powerful. That's the first time I'm hearing that one. So the last one: knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
You know what? I would go and just tell him, you go ahead and do your life, because the banal question, the answer that other people could give you is invest in Amazon or Apple. Yes. Every failure, every loss, every single thing that happened in my life led to where I am now. And this is exactly where I'm supposed to be in my path. So I would just tell him anything at all. Maybe one thing: stop drinking coffee first thing in the morning, because I have a horrible gastritis now. But something important, like don't do this. Do all of the mistakes that you need to make. Do exactly everything that you want. And at 18 years old, I had pretty clear ideas. I knew that I wanted to use my 20s to travel the world. I knew that I wanted to use my 30s to establish my life and to have kids and a family, and my 40s to build an empire, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm building a castle here. In my 50s, I thought about looking at possibly going back to Italy, maybe helping in government. And by 60s, I want to live in a villa in Lower Tuscany, studying the Etruscan civilization and being a consultant that makes like $10,000 per day. So I would just say, just carry on, do what you're doing.